What's up, fam? It's your boy G-Man,
It's your boy Noah,
and
and
we
we are
are the
the
Superhero
Superhero Brothers.
Brothers.
Guys, what is up? Today is a very special episode because Wakanda Forever just came out. Najee and I watched it the night it came out, and wow, there is a lot to discuss in this movie. It was so heartfelt. We had the trailer, we talked about the trailer, and now that we're able to actually get this movie in our fingertips, seeing in our eyes, we are there. We have seen it, and yeah, wow, Najee. I'm gonna start off. First off, did Wakanda Forever live up to your expectations?
It did. It did, and then some. So, like, at first, I will admit my expectations was like I didn't know where to go, but I think how they handled this story, just in terms of like the films that it came out in Phase 4 and how they dealt with Chadwick's death, the origin stories for kind of like Shuri's Black Panther, Namor, kind of how you're bringing Atlantis, not Atlantis, Talo Cotton into kind of like the Marvel universe was really cool. I thought Riri Williams did a phenomenal job. I actually was not expecting her to be as good as she was. And yeah, I just think it wasn't like over the top slapstick humor either. Like you had your little quips here and there, but it wasn't like I felt sometimes how the TV shows have done, where it's like trying to bash you over the head. And we had a bunch of dope cameos. So to me, I was like, I literally sat in the theater after the credits just for like a solid 5 to 10 minutes. I was like, man, I just watched this. This was awesome. Now, granted, I will admit it wasn't on the same level as the first Black Panther for me, and I know we'll probably dive into that a little bit later. But it's still like a really, really, really great film. How about you?
Yeah, I think that I agree. First off, I'll say this. I think it lived up to my expectations. There are some aspects of the movie that maybe, and I'll get into that in just a little bit, but I do want to start off with like just some of the main positives. I agree. For such a main character to pass away and you have to figure out a story to mold around that, I think Ryan Coogler did an amazing job, right? I think that the story made sense. It was really heartfelt. They did a lot of really good tributes to Chadwick, which was amazing. Um, and they weave that into the story as well, kind of around like the death of the Black Panther. I think for me, the movie was good. It had its quips, like you said, it was very tasteful, but the pacing was just a little bit off for me. Like I felt like we got a big rise, then a drop, and then it never really got back up there for the end. So I kind of was like, oh, like we had Namor at the Capitol. That was such a powerful scene. Like this man threw the bombs into the Capitol, and I was like, whoa,
Bro,
like what the heck? And so like that to me was the climax of the movie. But then we had the cruise water scene, and that just wasn't. I don't know. I felt like the big scene was the Capitol scene. So it's like I almost kind of wish that they like
flipped him.
reorganized it.
Yeah. No, I feel you though, which is weird that you think the pace, or not weird that you think the pacing off, but it was weird that the pacing was a little off considering it was almost like a 3 hour film.
Well, which I didn't even know that too. I was like, I went in, I watched the movie at like 10 o'clock, and I was like, why is it like 1:30?
Yeah, dude, it was
I
a
didn't know it was
long film.
almost 3 hours.
Yeah, which I think it also speaks to just how good the film was, but there was some issues. I do agree also that like the climax was, like you said, when like Namor was outside of Wakanda, like I'm gonna bring the war to Wakanda shores. That was dope. Like the cruise, it kind of felt like not as impactful because they had to like fly Namor all the way off, and like it seemed to have like no consequence at first. When I first like saw the ending, I was like, why is like what real consequence? But the more I thought about it, it was like overarching consequences, not
Mhm.
necessarily just that movie.
Yeah, and I think moving to the idea of like Namor, right? Introduce a new character, Namor. He's a mutant. My question to you is like, what do you think that means for X-Men, right?
I think it could impact X-Men if they view like the US or whatever, all those countries now, like figure out like, oh, Atlanteans exist and like view them as mutants. Now I can see kind of like where that hatred or whatever would develop, that tension.
Yo, which reminds me, so did they I guess the US never saw that Atlanteans were real.
Nah, they just think it's Wakanda. That's why also Namor is a killer villain and strategist. This man was
Bro,
like,
facts.
Wakanda
That's what I was
has
gonna
no
say.
allies but us. They have to.
Namor, yo, he was a badass villain, bro.
Bro, I mean his little angel feet, but that's just character design. Little angel wings were not that cool. But like when he was fighting, you were like, bro, this man, like my favorite character. of course, like M'Baku, when he tried to, he's like, "Oh, the fish man." He tried to like hit him with a stick. The thing just broke, and he just like bodied him. He like one shotted him. I was like, "Bro, this man is crazy." And then the drowning of Ramonda's scene, and just like him taking on all the Air Forces, like one Air Force, like it was crazy. And really, all the Atlanteans in general, like that siren scream, that was creepy. Like in the beginning
Yo,
in the
in the beginning of
film.
the movie, when they started jumping off that ship in the beginning, I was like,
Oh,
oh snap, these are like sirens. These people, this is like legitimate. It's suicide. Like,
bro.
that's like from a horror movie.
That's what I was saying. They did like Ryan Coogler did a phenomenal job, and I'm so happy. And I hope that they like bring him for like Avenger level movies. Because imagine like that type of stuff on a grand scale.
Yeah, which was super intimidating. And I know we were talking about like mutants and how does that affect, and maybe it doesn't, but I think what's interesting is just like how powerful those guys were.
Yeah,
Like
like
he was like, I have so like his army. Like I just couldn't even imagine how big that. This has been going on since he said what the 1600s. They've just
oh
been
yeah,
building in a community since then. There's no way Wakanda would have lasted a war. Now, to your point about the feet, I thought it was a little weird as well. They have the little feet there, but I liked it because when Shuri grabbed it and took it off, we're like, oh,
oh
like you
yeah,
could hear it, like it just was like that was wild.
yeah. It was crazy. And something. It's funny that you mentioned that. I loved how Shuri's Black Panther more emulated Killmonger than T'Challa, like, cause she was really like angry. She wanted revenge. Like when T'Challa took it, he was like, "Oh, I'm the noble king," right? And that kind of personified his character, even in real life. I'm not saying Letitia Wright uh, isn't angry in real life, but I think it was cool for that film. It was like she was going for revenge and anger. You could see in how she fought, how like her strategy, like it was really, really dope.
Yeah, but I think, and this is maybe where talking about the pacing, where another element, and I want to kind of get another question about the Black Panther piece, but like I felt like that was rushed. I feel like she could have became the Black Panther a little bit earlier.
You think?
Yeah, and then like again, I think the pacing they could have been changed where it made something might have like encouraged her to do it
Hmm.
because the whole grief, seeing Killmonger, then going, it just seemed like really rushed. And again, it was all in a short span of time. She became Black Panther, fought on the boat, fought him, then it was over.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that, but I think also she was never trying to be it. So I think when she first got that, well, because like you know how they had the whole herb be an issue or whatever. So she had basically abandoned that project, and then once she got Namor stuff, she was able to recreate it. Um,
True,
I
but think
didn't
about it,
get.
she got
Oh,
that way earlier, didn't
mm-mm.
she?
No, she didn't get Namor stuff until she
Oh
like.
no, you're right. She got it, and then right when she came back, Homeboy came through.
Yeah, so it was basically trying to establish. I think Ryan Coogler's idea was establish like Talo Cotton or whatever, and then kind of go through.
I'm
Um,
gonna forever be saying cool, cool gun,
bro, yes,
cool gun.
the Serpent God. That's what it when this.
Kamehameha.
But so it's funny that you say that. To me, it was almost like Talo Cotton. Namor is the Black Panther of his country. When you think about it, like everyone's going Wakanda forever. See, you're gonna see a lot of people doing the Kamehameha wave.
Yeah. Which again, shout out to Ryan Coogler to create two worlds,
Yeah,
right? Like if you think about the Avengers, a lot of that stuff is like New York based to create two entire different worlds. And if you notice, he adds different sounds and music for each of them. Like, right, you kind of have like the African kind of sound with Wakanda. Then it was more of kind of like a sea majestical type, but still kind of like Hispanic culture type feel to the music. It just was great how he was able to like visually as well as like using, audio to really kind of show the difference between the two different cultures. But kind of to the point about Black Panther, given this movie, do you think Black Panther can continue without Chadwick, right? Now, what I loved about Marvel is at the end, if you guys say for the post credit scene, we learn that T'Challa has a son with Nakia, and they named him Tucson, I think. And then, but his real name in Wakanda, real name is T'Challa. So this is maybe their way of saying like T'Challa really isn't dead, but like he was such a pivotal character. Like, how do you think that they're gonna do this? Like,
Yeah,
do you think Black Panther itself could last with like a Shuri and then her holding the mantle until the young T'Challa comes?
I actually do. I think that's how they're going to do it. Now, granted, I don't think they should have been like T'Challa, like use that name. I think they should have. I wish had remembered his name, the name of his son that he had with Storm. I think that would have been a better route. But then again, they also hadn't introduced the X-Men, so I don't know how she would get in there. But
Yeah, but maybe they do get that where now Storm, like maybe that's like right at this moment in time, maybe Storm's a younger girl because we haven't seen the mutants yet.
that's true. That's true. Or what if Nakia became Storm? That would be crazy.
That's
And
definitely not gonna happen. That's definitely not
no,
gonna
I mean it's
happen.
not, but like
It's
that
definitely not gonna happen.
all of a sudden be like, I was a spy, now lightning.
Yeah,
But
but yeah. So you think it could continue? I hope it can. Like I said, I think they did a good job with trying to rewrite the story a little bit by having his son. Like it leaves it open, right? Like we know there's gonna be a Black Panther. Like it's a Black Panther's got to return. We just have to figure out like what does that mean? What does that look like? Again, I think that Letitia Wright's Black Panther is good, but I think true if we're trying to be true to nature, right? We still didn't get to see, to your point, like the whole storm. Like there's a lot of connections with like the X-Men and Black Panther and a lot of his storyline that we couldn't explore, unfortunately, because of his passing. So even like with Shuri becoming the Black Panther, she does become it, but again, that's a little bit later on in the storyline. So it's just gonna be interesting to kind of see how they play it out, you know?
yeah, which I mean, I think they'll probably just adjust how it goes. But yeah, I mean, you think about like M'Baku took over Wakanda after I don't know if you caught that, but this was kind of it was a callback to the challenge scene. It's like, oh, the Shuri couldn't make it, and he's like, I'm here for to challenge, which I'm like, that's gonna in the future, I think, cause issues.
Uh I don't know if that was a bad thing. I thought he knew that she wasn't coming.
No, I do, but I'm saying like I feel like that's gonna end up setting up future conflicts down the line because one, and Baku, like comically, he and in the comics, excuse me, he's naturally always been a villain to the Black Panther. And I know they kind of made him an ally for like the first Black Panther film, but I think with the way they're setting this up, he can be the villain because it's like now he has Jabari land and Wakanda, and so like sure he's the Black Panther, but
Oh, so is that saying? Sorry to interrupt. So you're saying that they're saying that he's got to be the leader of Wakanda?
yeah, because that's what that challenge is for. Because you remember from the first film, like
But she
the
wasn't
Black,
there though.
yeah, but he's like, I'm here for to challenge. If there's no one there to challenge,
I might
they
need to
win it.
fact check that. Yeah, I might need to fact check that. I think that was. I would have to kind of. I remember it happening, but the implications, I'm still a little bit.
You got to watch the first film to like
No, I know the
see the
first film that
parallels.
that's what happened, but I don't know if that's what because they thought it was Shuri coming in that ship. That's the thing.
Yeah, I know. Because on challenge day, anyone can challenge to be king. And if that person just doesn't show up, like and it's also in the comics and in the animated series that like if
Yeah.
that but it's okay. We
Well,
digress.
yeah, and I think moving to another big character that was introduced with Ironheart. What are your thoughts on the new Iron Man, Iron Woman within Ironheart?
So I thought she was pretty cool. At first I thought they almost were like forcing her a bit, but then like the more you heard about the story, I wish it could have been built out a little bit more. Like it was dope to see that she was at I think it was Harvard and like how she
MIT,
was
MIT,
or
yeah,
MIT, excuse me. She's at MIT, but she didn't realize what she had built had like impacted the world so heavily. She was just like, whatever. This was a challenge and it got used. She really didn't get the credit she was deserved. You know what I mean? Um, but I mean, I think the character overall was cool. The armor was awesome. I'm still wondering like how Stark Tech has just like gone across the Marvel universe. I feel like he wouldn't have just like easily let his stuff fall into the government's hands.
yeah. I think I loved it. Black woman who, again, super smart. Like I think they hit on some really cool parts with that. But the thing, this could just be me. Did she not look old in the face for 19?
Nah, she looked fine in my opinion. I don't think she looked any.
Maybe she just looked older. Like I don't know. Like I was like, she would
may-
be a 19-year-old. I don't know. Like she looked like she could be here like mid 20s.
Maybe
But
certain instances I could
yeah, like
see
there's
it,
certain instances. I was like, you look a
but
little
I
older
mean,
than 19.
but like stress ages you, and that's also I think.
Nah, I don't know if it's all that,
No,
but
like think about it. She was like from the backstory, single. Her dad had died, and that's why she had kept that car. She has a single parent, which was her mom, going working through college. I don't know, and I could just totally be end up making up a backstory in my mind, but I didn't think she looked
yeah.
as
Well, I thought it was cool that she made her own suit, which is great. I saw the funny comments on TikTok and stuff. They're like, she looks like a Power Ranger or a Gundam Warrior. I was like, yo, come on, chill out. Like this was like, it's her version of the suit, which was cool. Um, I'm waiting for this Young Avengers. They know what they're doing. They are building this Young Avengers team here and there. And I think the Young Avengers is probably going to turn out better than like the next Avengers movie. And I say that because I don't know if we're getting that many new regular storylines, but we keep getting introduced to these like sidekick kid characters. And we're getting more of a background story about them than we are about this new set of Avengers.
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know who's all going to be in the Young Avengers. They've teased a lot of like teenage slash children, but um, you don't know who's going to be the leader. I didn't see all the memes about the iron suit, but I think something was weird to me though, or well, I have to highlight. She made a more like sleek Iron Man suit in general because like that's to fit her body type. But I'm like, where did she get all of these? Like, how does she know how to develop these certain weapons or whatnot? Like,
Bro, she's a genius.
I mean, you're a genius, but I don't know. I just felt like Wakanda didn't have rockets and all that. Like,
Oh,
it seemed
dude, they
like
have
all the
that
whole
was
thing was just vibranium.
yeah, but that's the whole thing. Like they have weapons, they got a lot. No, no, no. They definitely hits. That was the whole point at the beginning of the movie, which is like, the queen was like, "Yo, you guys just want to use our stuff to, for weapons, building all this stuff." Like they have way more advanced technology than what they just have on naturally in other countries.
Right. No, but I'm saying like I would have thought more of her weapons would have been vibranium based. Is get basically my thing. But
But
no,
they were.
that first opening scene was dope. The opening scene of like them trying to like the U.S. trying to take all the resources and
Oh yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
um, or
Yeah, which
U.S.
was
and
cool too. We got
France.
to see other outfits as well, right? That Letitia, or I guess Riri, dang, Shuri had made for
Yeah, the
uh
midnight suits.
yeah, the midnight suits are dope. So with that, Najee, let me ask, like, how would you? This was the last film in Phase 4. Like, how would you rate this in Phase 4, and what are your expectations for Phase 5?
This is number one for me, and it's not just because oh it's Wakanda Forever. You're thinking like Wakanda. It's just like I feel like Phase 4 of all the phases so far, Phase 4 was the weakest. Which I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you have to
Because it was full of
expect that.
shows, full of shows.
Well, that and not all the shows hit home, and it wasn't the
Facts.
same type of development that you were thinking of.
Hold up, more
Like,
than Spider-Man G. Hold up,
yeah,
better than Spider-Man No Way Home.
yeah,
You
I've
tripping?
rewatched Spider.
You
No,
tripping? You tripping,
I've
bro?
rewatched Spider Man, No Way Home,
Fake news.
Doctor Strange too. No, I think it's like I think it is the best. Now, Spider Man, No Way Home had the most nostalgia. Love the cameos and like the like seeing all three Spider Man on screen. But no, to me, in terms of impact, No Way Home had the most. No Way Home and Doctor Strange movie, Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, because I'm like looking through the things here. We have Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternal, Spider-Man No Way Home, Multiverse of Madness, Love and Thunder, Wakanda Forever, all the movies. So for sure, out of all the movies, Spider-Man No Way Home, Black Panther were the top two. And then I would say Shang-Chi's number three. And then it was
Yeah,
just mainly a lot of shows. WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki, What If, Hawkeye,
you forgot Doctor Strange.
Moon Knight. No, I said Doctor Strange. I don't I wouldn't all right, maybe it's four. I'd put it fourth. Um Moon Knight, I'm Groot. So yeah, I think that it's definitely one of the top ones. So Phase 5, I'm hoping they dive a little bit more into the movies,
Oh, they
right?
will.
Like,
I mean, the Ant-Man trailer already has me. I know Phase 5 is going to be absolutely stoked, especially since we're starting off with such a banger.
yeah.
Like, Kang's
Well,
going to
like I
change the
said in
game.
our previous episode, I was saying that I think Phase 4 was just like the bridge period. Like they just needed something to get us over.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially it's what Phase 1 was, but I think our expectations got so high, and they were trying to Marvel's credit, I think they were trying to break out of the same mold that they had done for every single superhero origin movie. Wasn't that successful for some of them, but in my opinion, but overall, yeah, now we're going to start getting the real good stuff.
Yeah, I hope so. I really hope so. So, what would you rate this movie? I know that you think it's better than Spider-Man: No Way Home, but what would you rate this movie out of
Well, I said
what's your rating?
the best Phase 4 film in terms of like overallness. Um, I'd say like a 9.3.
Yeah, I think I would give it like an 8.8, 8.7. The
The
pacing
high
got
B
me.
range. Yeah. Well, that's what I don't. That's why I'm not like 9.6. Like this is the greatest movie you've ever seen. Like
Yeah.
it's because it was the pacing was a little off, and I'll be honest. Some moments it felt kind of like you wanted Chadwick.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. I know. That's the thing. And I think he had just such staying power that he had crushed that role like right out of the park. And
Yeah.
it's just like, but again, I think they did a great job in the meantime. But moving over to the Daily Bugle news and reviews update, Najee, what do we have on the slate for Marvel?
So yeah, for Marvel, kind of streaming in directly from Wakanda Forever, the upcoming show Ironheart is supposed to be a direct sequel,
Yeah.
which I think is cool because you know how it ended with, or at least Riri's arc ended with her having to go back, of course, to MIT and how her car would be shipped to her. But like, how is she going to respond to that? How is she gonna
Mhm.
like interact with the feds? Where's she gonna hide this suit or whatever? So,
She's not gonna have it, remember? So that's
oh
the
yeah,
thing.
that's true. That's
Wakanda
true.
has to keep it. But what I'm interested in seeing, so this means she might be getting a new suit, by the way, because Wakanda has to keep it. But what I'm interested in seeing is how are they, because now that we're coming from a movie to a TV show, there's gonna be some expectations on CGI and all the stuff that and She-Hulk needed some work. So wondering how they're gonna be able. I hope they put some more budget into Ironheart, right, to live up to what we saw in the movie.
I think they will because one, they're gonna have Mephisto as a villain in
Yeah,
there, so it's like you know
the
it's
guy
gonna
from
have to
Borat,
be
or Borat, I guess, is playing him. I think
yeah,
Sasha or
surprisingly.
whatever. Yeah,
Um, but he's had some
very
real serious
nice
roles. How much? Uh,
in the
but yeah,
Marvel movie.
but yeah, I mean, I think that's cool. We got Fantastic Four starting filming in 2024, and then
Finally,
some.
hopefully, get some casting updates on that one.
Yes, really, really pumped for that. And something super crazy, Wonder Man has actually been casting. Is going to be filming in Atlanta starting in 2023, and so Yaha Abdul Mateen is
It's
officially
Yaya, but
switching. What?
it's Yaya. You say Yaya.
That's how it looks at
It's
people.
Yaya.
Yahya Abdul Mateen has officially switched sides from DC to Marvel because he played Black Manta and Aquaman. So I assume he's going to
Hmm.
die in Aquaman too. Um,
He doesn't have to. He has no obligation. Like they're not. There's no cross world. You know,
but usually in their
DC's doing a clean
contracts, they're
slate.
like, yeah, no, but usually in the contracts, it's like if you are in our films, you can't be in the other things, films or shows. I don't know, but super excited for that. He does have a love triangle with Vision and Wanda in the comic series, so very intrigued to see how they tie in like Vision Quest, Wonder Man, and Scarlet Witch all together.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how that works.
So going into the DC side, James Gunn is already making crazy moves. It got teased that Jason Momoa has gotten his dream DC project, and now, so if those of you who are huge Jason Momoa fans, you know he has read the Lobo comics and has always wanted to be that. So of course, with Henry Cavill coming back, I think they're gonna let Jason Momoa be Aquaman and Lobo, which I think he would make the perfect Lobo. I just think that it's cool that they're going to build out Superman's verse. Maybe we'll get Martian Manhunter to come back in that.
I don't want him to be that though, dude. I
Really?
mean, I want him to be Lobo, but you can't play two characters.
Well, I feel like they're gonna kill him in Aquaman, like, or have someone else take that mantle as Aquaman.
Yeah, like you can't do that in the same universe, especially bringing up. So we'll see. I saw that interview. I don't know how much of it, if it's gonna last. Um, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, I think he would make a great Lobo. Um, I think they should have picked someone else for Aquaman, to be honest. But
Facts. Somebody blonde. I hate to say
yeah,
it, but
um, but it is what it is.
yeah, it is what it is.
But
What else happened? There was a big
dude,
death, I think, right? There was like a
yes,
big.
this is the worst. This is a super sad death. So Kevin Conroy, who has voiced Batman in just about every Batman animated film,
Mm,
game, had passed away at 66. He had been battling an
wow.
illness for like the past couple of years, and
Dang.
it's
Rest in peace.
yeah, dude, it's crazy because you think about like when you think of Batman, everyone talks about like the Christian Bale, Ben Affleck in terms of like live action, but you think of the voice, it's Kevin Conroy. Like I don't
Hmm.
know if there's anyone who commanded a room like him, and even like his counterparts from like the Justice League series, like Phil Lamar, the actor who played Superman, Wonder Woman, all of them had just like gushed about um, him as a character. So yeah, he'll be sorely missed.
Yeah, dang, that's sad news, man. We lose a lot of people, man. Losing a lot of people, but you know, guys, I think that we'll wrap up that this episode on that. Just again, just moment of silence for him for sure. But anyway, guys, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up this podcast episode. Remember, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure that you give this a 5-star rating, and if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure that you hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all these different episodes that we have coming out. Let us know in the comments what you guys enjoyed. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, evening, whenever you're listening to this podcast. It's your boy Noah,
It's your boy G Man,
and we
and we
are
are the
the
Superhero
Superhero
Brothers.
Brothers.